All right, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me turn my mic up. It might be a little loud. I'm just wanting to make sure you guys can hear me. I had to turn the sound down during the game because I was sometimes talking, and that was a bad idea because I want to talk now. This is going to be kind of a run on. I'll probably split it into maybe 3 videos. May not go over every game, just kind of pick out some spots. Going to be rambling on. I really don't have the time to cut this up, but there's some good learning experiences, and hopefully we capture that here and now. So let's go ahead and start with game one. I was killed kind of late. I'm going to assume you guys potted from over here. They hot dropped, and you went all the way to cemetery. Nothing to really say about that. That's an option. The only issue I have with going into the corners is that note when you go into the corners, I mean, theoretically, you have a 1 in 4 chance that that corner is no longer going to be available. In fact, it's more of a half, right? Because it normally cuts it down in half. So 2 corners are available. So you have a 50-50 chance that that corner you chose is no longer going to be in the zone. And the problem with that is there's not a problem with that. You just have to know that. So if you're going to fly all the way from over here to over here and this corner goes, you know, by the time you get here, it almost tells you right away, like, hey, you're not in zone. You got to grab and you got to move because the zone is closing. So, same thing kind of when you drop here, you got to kind of move. You got to get out of these corners. You have a 50-50 chance that it's not going to be a good spot for you, or at least not in zone. So, let's go ahead and move forward here. Sorry about this. I had something in the oven, had to take care of that. But as you can see here, you guys are here. You are not in zone. In fact, all 4 corners, maybe it's more than a 50-50 chance, no one's in zone if you're in the corner. So you guys are stacked here. You took this long ride over here and dropped here. Now it's closed. You guys need to get down into zone, or at least start looking at how are we getting into zone. Ignore that you know where these people are. However, if you flew this direction and you knew they hot dropped, you have to assume they're either in armory, observatory, and are coming down either into kingdom and plains. So that should be what you would think about, knowing that you went all the way to cemetery. There's even a possibility that they move really quickly over to sandbox. Notice that the zone closed and they're going to move down towards tower, watching you the whole time. Maybe they're on a, they got a red eye and they're coming right at you, because they know you went all the way to cemetery. They're going to hit sandbox, come out here, grab crack houses, and then hold you out. Either way, you got to move. You got to get out of this corner. You got to establish some sort of zone, or else you're going to be in big trouble. However, let's zoom ahead 30 seconds. That isn't what happens. In fact, you guys hit. Let me go back. You guys are in sandbox, as you see here. You moved over from sandbox, from cemetery, even though it was still out of zone. It was still out of zone. Don't like this decision at all. You're moving into a spot where now you're up against zone, and now you have to come down. Well, guess what? You got a team here. But again, like I said, this team might have rotated down in here. This is a terrible area right out front. As you can see here, it's all just hills. No hard cover. Very difficult, especially if this team was going to pull a little maneuver over here into the crack houses, which makes it very hard for cemetery people to come down. It's a great little pinch point. So I digress. That's the first mistake that occurred here. Look at you guys getting pushed by zone. Not where you want to be. You do not want to be getting pushed by zone. The game just started. Even more so, look at this open area. Almost no hard cover in here. Down the hill. It's hard to see from here. You might be able to crouch in here and get some hard cover, but zone's going somewhere, and it ain't backwards. So this isn't the last closing area. So you're going to have to come down this hill. If they see you crouched up here, they're going to take positions up. Not good. All right, let's zoom forward here. Somehow you guys decided to push even further this direction, which normally would be also kind of weird because you knew that the other team hot dropped, but that didn't happen. Looking for a fight. I'll talk about it later in this match. I like this rock right here, and I like these rocks. When the team that hop dropped over here starts to come this way, they usually get to Phoenix before you. Maybe you drop in here, but if you can get up here and you can establish these points here, you can fire down on them. They kind of can't cross this open area right in here. It's very difficult. Not a lot here. It forces them down this direction, which gives your team that's holding these points a way to go around this hill, kind of down into these buildings. You can use this to get across, grab here, and actually get around in front of them and fire upon them. But that's not what happens here. We'll zoom ahead. You guys basically rotate all the way around. No one's over here. Everyone's in the corner over here. Nothing's happening. You're kind of just rotating into nowhere, which isn't bad. It's just not good. You're not fighting. You're not. You hear the fighting going on over here. You should maybe move forward, see if you can get some free points. You can shoot from far away and get points. This game is all about points, free kills, all that stuff. You can't go and just run from everybody. You got to get into a fight. You just want to see if you can get good fights. But you guys rotate around. Nothing terribly wrong yet. Zone just closed. You have this corner. You guys rotated over. Somehow there's no teams over here. Everyone's in the corner over here. So you have this corner over here. No one's on the left because you literally just cleared out plains. You cleared out that whole hill over there. No one's came out of Kingdom. You have to suspect, since you went this way, that almost everybody at some point, someone drops in over here. Because remember, their pods were over here. Someone's dropping here. They rarely fly all the way out to the western area. Pretty rare, but it does happen. You guys should be looking over there. There's no action. No one's looted here. You have this corner. You hear all the action going on over there. And instead of establishing this corner, which is a great corner to have, again, because no one's over here. No one's going to sneak up behind you because you just came from there. You should only be looking over towards the western area, making sure no one's coming down from the hill. But again, the game has been going on for a full 2 minutes, I think, already. They would have already rotated down, and you should expect to be seeing them here, which you don't. So let's move ahead here. Instead of establishing this corner here, which as I think you should have done, is at least grab this corner, grab the barn, grab here, looking this direction. You hear fighting over here. You guys really should have just taken this corner here, I think. I would have been up on this barn, looking this way. You hear fighting going on over here. You have this open street here. You guys can progress this way. There's open area here. Nobody's crossing here, coming at you out in the open. You basically have this whole lane to yourselves, and you can kind of push the envelope and go this way. I'd say at least right in here. Gets a little risky if you're going to push yourself all the way into here, but at least here in the barn, and maybe even back into zone a little bit right in here, looking for these teams fleeing. You hear the fighting. There's this whole open area. Anybody with an op long-range weapon, free shots at these teams that are damaged over here. But instead, you guys rotate up on top of the hill. Don't really see a benefit to doing that. You have this corner. I would hold it. This is a great corner. You have this whole street here, open area. No one's coming at you. You should really be looking at, pushing at this corner here, at least taking shots over here. Everyone's kind of always coming out late from Metro. Everyone just spends way too much time in Metro. There's always fights going on there, and weak teams are always fleeing out. Oftentimes they come up into this area here. So you should just be, if you could push up to the sign, grab this area, and just start taking free shots. That's really what I would have done here. is kind of move up. But it's the first game. You guys rotate out of this area here. Nothing's really going on. The other option, the other problem with rotating up this hill is if there is a team up here, this is not a great spot to be. This is low ground. They have all this high ground and you're going to climb up into here. Like, that's not a good battle to have. High ground versus low ground. So if that were to happen, that'd be not a great scenario. Let's say, like I said, this team comes out of here. They rotate over to here because they're fleeing. They're going to work their way here, and now you're getting into a battle with them on this low ground. That doesn't happen here. You guys keep moving, but there's no action. There's no action over here. And actually, look what happens here is this team that's limping over here, they got into the fight over here. They're actually limping this direction. If you guys would have taken up this corner here, this team of 3, I believe the last 2 players are like fighting over here still. You could have almost wiped this team, a 5-on-3 scenario here with these guys just kind of trying to get a spot. Because again, everyone's moving from left to right here, zones over here. So you gave up this spot here. And it would have really worked out for you guys to kind of stay here. But now they move in to this spot here. Let's pause real quick here. Oh, well, I missed it. Hold on, let's go back. No, you guys are rotating. I'm missing it. Yeah, I missed it. Yeah, so they rotate. They rotate into this spot here. This is before the zone shrink. Yeah, so they're rotating here. Look at this. If you guys would have stayed here, their team is split. You really could have done some damage here on them and then really held this area here. But instead, you guys moved out and you gave up this area. A lot of this game is just not giving up area, holding it, forcing storm. That probably would have pushed them back towards this corner here. So this team would have been like, oh no, there's a team here holding us out. We're going to have to come back this way. Maybe their eyes are set on this area here, right? Well, guess what? There's another team here. Everyone's going to be fighting for this corner. Then you move from here up to the mid range, and now you're just pounding them in this corner. Both teams fighting each other. You're the third partier, wiping them all, game over, Gen X on top right here, okay? But you guys rotate up to the top. Still no harm, no foul here. Just not really doing anything by doing that. And then if you're going to rotate up here, you're going to kind of have to, this is the high ground, all this area. You almost have to keep rotating to make sure that there's no team coming in here, because this is where you should expect to see a battle. You don't, because they moved down. But you have to secure this area here. And if you can do that, you should be holding here, fighting all these people trying to come up this direction. And if they rotate down again, now you guys are just holding this whole stronghold here, firing down on them in this big open area down here. I mean, they're going to be fighting each other. You're just going to be duck hunting down here, you know. So let's zoom ahead here, see what happens. So here you guys are. Zones here. Now they got to cross a street. A missed opportunity. This street is brutal. Usually you try to get across a sign for some connections. You got a truck here, but just out in the open. You're either wasting resources, blocking people from shooting you. It's just wide open. This is just not the best area. Here you got some cover, but you're just wide open. You know, imagine standing here while these teams try to come in. Oh my God, it would just be a nightmare for somebody to be here, you know? That doesn't happen. Even worse, look at Nacho Eyes. This kid snuck in here and is going to round you guys out. You have a good spread here. I like where Casey is. He's up on this side. He should be watching kind of at everyone here. You know, you got snipers over here. Just making sure nobody is getting a free spot here. Mother can take the middle. Frank, go ahead and come over to the right. And then whoever else is left should be on the right side, expecting people to be coming out of the metro area and up there. Really concerned. That would be my concern. My biggest concern here would be people coming from over here trying to wrap this direction, and really then they just have kind of a freebie. If they get this barn, that's not good for you. They have high ground. They shoot down on you guys in the buildings. So I'd really like to see one of you guys on this barn top looking towards Metro, expecting people to be here. And look at what the zone line is right here. They can't even hide in this building. They have to come out. A couple buildings to the right. You guys are really in a good spot right here, and you just don't capitalize because somebody sneaks around on the left, and we're going to watch that unfold right now, and it's absolutely detrimental. Let's just speed it up here. Look at him. He sneaks all the way into this corner here, and now he just has this line on you guys. He's going to sneak up on this rock and just have this. One person is just going to cause havoc right here. You guys know he's there. Casey sees him. I'm not sure if there's some communication here, like, hey, there's somebody here. Like, it's only one dude. And if you know it's one dude, everyone should collapse on him, eliminate him, and then get back to your positions. You still have somebody, Frank over here. He can still watch, make sure no one sneaks in the back. This should be an all-out absolute massacre for Nacho for here. I don't even care if he gets a 2 versus 1 scenario here where he kills 2 of you. You only get 1 of him. You're going to get all his shit. You're going to get all your stuff back. You can't let him have this corner, but he does. He causes absolute havoc here. He rotates even higher into this high position, and now he just has hard cover. He even has high ground. Let's talk about what you do here. Not behind the tree. If you step out, your entire body is being shown here. Not a good peak point. Maybe you could climb up in the tree. There's a peak point right here, but really you're just going to keep exchanging bunch of bullets. It's just a distraction. You're probably not going to kill him. He's not going to kill you. You're just taking your eyes away from the prize over here. Over here on the left, there's just people running for their lives. They're fighting, they're battling. This is where all your energy needs to be. And this guy is just distracting you guys as his team here. And he just can back up. He's just causing a problem. And look what's going to happen. His other teammates like, oh, I'm going to rotate around too. No one's looking down this way anymore. Why? Because he's distracting everybody on this team almost. Okay. So how do we deal with that problem? Here's how you deal with it. Look at Tubbs. Everyone's collapsing back. They think there's an entire team here. There's really only one person. Tubbs, Frank, McAllister. If you guys rotate up this direction, take this rock, you can close off this lane. And I do that here. I show you the way. So Tubbs, if you can come up to this corner here, you're going to close off this lane. He has quote unquote hard cover, but it's poor hard cover. It's just a round rock. You got a rock in front. Someone can move up, and then you're just going to rush him. That doesn't happen before the other team comes in behind, starts causing problems. A is here. As I suspected, a team would rotate up that direction. And now, now zone just rotated away. You should have owned this entire space here. A team was able to sneak up on this side and this side. Now you guys are out of zone. Now you got to fight this way with somebody on each side. All is not lost, though, here. You can still come in and grab some of these buildings and just kind of hold it. If the zone goes down to the bottom, you're kind of screwed. It's a hard way to get down. It's easier for them to come up and collapse on you here. Just, it's unfortunate that happened. Where did this guy go? Oh, he even rotated out. He saw that you guys were coming up, and he was like, I'm out. And now team C is just, you guys rotated away from the zone, and now you're stuck back here. It's over at this point. What are you guys going to do? The only thing I could think of is head for the barn, right? Come this way all together. Hit the barn. You are in zone, you'll have to fight A through this little opening here, hold them off. C is likely to rotate over. Maybe you get lucky and zone gives you a favor and goes back towards Metro, but kind of all she wrote. There he is. He's here. Nacho cleans up here. Callister, and now it's just an absolute bloodbath. Both teams just, I mean, at this point, I mean, it's over now. It's just too late. If you find yourself in this position, y'all just need to maybe be like, which way are we going? Either right or left. Left is terrible. It's just rocks. There's nothing over here. There's no buildings, no real hard cover. I would just head right towards, immediately towards A. Maybe you can wipe them out, and maybe you can get into the barn and just kind of make it difficult, and maybe get lucky. Maybe the zone comes back, but it's kind of done now. It's just kind of moving in, and that's the end of that. Is just unfortunate, and that's what happened there. So yeah, and there we go. So Tubbs Tubbs is trying, man. He's just gonna take Frank, and Tubbs are like, let's make the leap of faith. But everyone's expecting. There's fighting up here. You have the zone. You're just flying free. Tubbs kind of has the right idea. Maybe you can kind of get down low behind this rock, find your way over here, maybe catch a lucky banana or two, maybe a soda. That's what I would probably do. Stay low to the ground here. These people are rotating away. There's nothing really going on here. Grab a banana, maybe a soda, climb the sign, stay on this right side of the sign, scoot down behind this rocks, and maybe you can scooch in on this far side here. It's a long shot, but going for the closest spot when all the teams are just, that's where everyone came from. There's no way you're getting in here. You're just not. You just have to kind of rotate this direction, try to get in behind, maybe even chain res over here. You can buy, in Gen X, you can buy a banana here and try to get into the barn and recoup. But Tubbs is caught here. No one's getting away. A little too long. Caught you in the end of the barn. And that's the end of game one. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Moving on here. Okay. Game two. What do we got going on here? Sorry, I'm kind of moving around a lot. Okay. No, this is fat cheese. Oh, this is basically a repeat of what happened in game one. I'm going to assume the same thing. I think we were on the platform on the right. You guys flew all the way to cemetery, and look, once again, cemetery in the corners closed off, except even worse, the team followed you. They followed you to sandbox, so they're even closer. Before they went to the nines, they hot dropped. They moved out here. They came up. They wrapped around this direction and then got you. But they're here. A lot of looting going on. Zone is closing. There isn't shit here for cover. First one out and down here is going to be in great position, grabbing this wall, maybe a couple of the crack houses, and then falling back behind this wall. You got streets in the open here, maybe a top building here. You have to get down and in here, or you got a beeline all the way over to towards Metro and maybe sneak in way over here. And then they're going to take tower, and you can have a battle here. But it's really what you would want to do is you have to know they drop before you. They're looting, and they're moving. You flew longer. You ended up in cemetery. You got to be even faster. I mean, I would just literally from here, grab whatever you can in a straight line, hit the park, and come out over here and try to maybe establish this line. That doesn't happen. You guys are looting. Let's keep going here. What do we got? Sorry for the roundabouts. Yep, you guys are just looting here. They're looting there. And look at Fat Cheese. He knows it. He came out first. His team's still looting, but he's like, hey, if I can come up here and get the top of this and hold you guys out, that's going to force you down the hill. And if we can just keep following you, shooting towards the park, shooting in this direction, where are you going to go? You're going to have to go all the way to Metro. Points, kills, all that good stuff. You guys don't even know what's happening yet. He hasn't even fired at you. He's just rotating around. And right about now, boom. You guys are all out of zone. Fat Cheese is right here. And we're going to single-handedly watch how one person can disrupt an entire team. His only job is to not die and just shoot in your direction and distract you. Slow you down, because the objective is here, or somewhere. You don't know where they are. They might have rotated out or been over here, but keep you from getting into zone while his team comes and backs him up. And that's exactly what happens here. Fat Cheese is just going to start shooting up. He gets good damage. Doesn't matter. That's not what his job is. He's going to take some damage here. It's just, do you see how it stopped you guys? Mother, you're just standing here. It's a shoot and move. The objective is way over here. You got to get there. This is a shoot and move. This is a shoot and get in front. Try to establish some spot over here, because if you don't, here comes his teammates. And that's exactly what happens. Look at how he doesn't die there. He just doesn't die. And what does he do? He's got some heals. He's using them. And look, he's not coming for you. He's not, his goal is not to kill you yet. It's just to contain you. He's like he's just containing you. Look at him just moving and shooting. He's like a tight end. His job is not to tackle you. It's to make you run out of bounds. And that's exactly what happens here. See how he's just moving, and you have no idea how many other people are over here, but finally his teammates catch up with him. Boys 1 here is bringing up the rear. Eclipse is already over here. I mean, it's just going to be a bloodbath. You guys are scrambling. Really, you should just try to get into Metro, I guess, here. Get down low. You can get lost in Metro. But really, it's over already, It's over. They kept you out of zone. Zone's doing its job. I think Casey makes a good run for it here, but, it's just, the zone is just so, you're going to be so deep, and I don't think he finds anything here. Another option here is Mother, you did make it. The problem is that you are going towards zone, but they're too close. You really got to keep moving. Go for the long run. This is too close to comfort. The entire team is here, and you're going to try to get into zone. You got plenty of health. I would have just kept going into Metro. Gun store, grab 4 bananas, something like that. You stop here, and they're all going to collapse on top of you. I mean, that's just where they're going to go. They're going to keep moving this way until the entire team is wiped. So maybe they go over the top of you, you get lucky. But really, they're not just going to keep going this way. They're just going to follow the line. And you're right there. They probably heard you break the door. And let's speed it up here because we all know what happens. He knows you're there. Fat Cheese knows you're there. Even if he didn't, let's go back 10 seconds. He's right here. I think he already knows you're there. Even if he doesn't, guess what? Here comes the storm. He's going to hear you cooking once it comes on in here. And that's game over. You can't res because he's going to know that you're there. He's not moving. He's just doing what I said he was going to do, which is go along the red line. But he knows you're there. He already knows you're there. But even if you didn't, look, here comes the red zone. It's going to make you burn. He might have made it out here. He would have heard you and came back. So, and there's it. Done. Game 2 in the books. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to stop right there, and because I want to make sure that I'm not screwing this up. So that's a solid 30 minutes, and we'll stop and we'll do part 2.